Hello everyone, myself Asavari Kalambe and my project is Statistical Characterization of Low Power Nanoscale 60 CMOS SRAM. In this project, my group members are Abhishek, Mitesh and Chetan and our guide is Dr. Sudhakar Mande. So moving next, what is a statistical characterization? So the statistical characterization is the science of collecting large amounts of data to discover patterns. Statistical characterization is a way for examining big amount of data as a whole as well as broken down into individual samples. Statistics are applied every day in research, industry, government and many more. Statistical characterization helps semiconductor industry and researchers to find out the yield and also used to design robust circuit against the process variation. Sampling data to interpreting results have been used by scientists for thousands of years, and today statistics are more valuable and powerful and all led to the use of a computational statistic. Next, so why SRAM? So why we take a SRAM for our project? So the CMOS SRAM is a more vulnerable circuit to the process variation such as a length, width, oxide thickness, etc. when it is fabricating, and SRAM uses the minimum size of MOSFETs. Also, SRAM has played a vital role in a high performance and a low power VLSI application. The SRAM yield has become a serious concern in a scaled technologies. In any chip, SRAM occupies more than 50% of the area. So therefore, the performance of a chip is dependent upon the performance of a SRAM. As you can see in the figure, there is that showing how much there is a various chip that showing how much part is occupied by SRAM. Moving next, so this is our circuit diagram. This is a circuit diagram of a 60 SRAM. The M1, M2, M3 and M4, that is pull up and a pull down transistor, is a memory part. These two CMOS pairs are working as an inverter. The input and output of this inverter are Q and Q bar. Using that we can read or write the value in a memory. The transistor M5 and M6 are access transistor, and the input for this transistor is WL. If we want to read and write, this Q and Q bar should be connected to some line. So bit and bit bar will be acted as that line. To access these lines, we have used access transistors. Moving next, that is read time. So what is a read time? Read time is the time from the activation of the read word line of the respective SRAM cell to the time at which data is available at the output. If we want to read, our Q and Q bar will be acting as an input and our bit and bit bar will act as an output, and our WL line should be always 1. Red line, as you can see in the figure, the red line is a WL, that is 1, and our blue is a bit and our yellow is a bit bar. As you can see, the blue line is a 1, that means we are reading 1. Moving next, write time. So what is a write time? Write time is defined as the time taken by the SRAM cell to ensure that cell is written properly. If we want to write in a memory, our bit and bit bar will be acting as an input. So as you can see in the graph, the red line is a WL, that is 1, and the blue is a Q. So Q line is decreasing, that means we are writing 1 in the memory. Moving next, the SNM. SNM is a measure of a data stability of the cell and is defined as the minimum DC noise voltage present at each of the cell to flip the state of the cell. As you can see in the figure, we have the butterfly curve for a SNM. The SNM is one of the side of the square that can be fitted inside the lobes of the curve. More the value of the SNM, higher is the read stability of the SRAM. Moving next, Monte Carlo simulation. So what is a Monte Carlo simulation? Monte Carlo simulation is used to model the probability of different outcomes in a process that cannot easily be predicted due to the random variables. This technique is used in a prediction and forecasting models. For our project, we have generated 1000 model files for PMOS and NMOS using PCA technique to maintain the correlation among model parameters such as a VTH, mu naught, n-depth, etc. Using those model files, we have obtained 1000 numbers of reading for write time, read time, and SNM. Also, we have found out the mean, standard deviation, and plot the CDF for the same. But using this technique, we need to simulate our ngSpice program for 1000 times, and it's very time consuming. Moving next, the PCA technique. Principal component analysis is used to reduce the dimensionality of large datasets by transforming a large set of variables into smaller one that still contains most of the info in the large set. Reducing the number of variables of data set naturally comes at the expense of accuracy, but the trick in the reduction technique is to trade a little accuracy for simplicity, because smaller datasets are easier to explore. For this, we have done 5 types of corner simulation, such as a nominal, fast, slow, fast, slow, and slow, fast. And using those 5 codes, we have obtained 1000 readings and also finded out the mean, standard, and plot the CDF as same we did for the Monte Carlo simulation. The error for this technique is just a 10%. So this technique have saved our time as we are just simulating 5 codes. Moving next, so on the left we have our histogram. Using that histogram, we have calculated the mean and a standard deviation, and on the right side we have the CDF plot, and using that we have calculated the percentage of yield of the SRAM for a mean value of 2.2. Moving next, so these are the table represents the results we have got from each Monte Carlo simulation and a PCA. As you can see, the maximum error obtained using PCA based statistical method is 11% as compared to the conventional Monte Carlo method. PCA based statistical method helps us to develop a model which works 995 times faster than model which is generated using Monte Carlo. Because PCA based method simulate only 5 times, which helps us to generate output and determine yield. So it saves our time, which in Monte Carlo method, it runs the ngSpice codes 1000 times, which is utilize more time than PCA. So this is all about our project. Thank you for watching.